What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Jay's Gimme 5 show with my boy Mark Gray. We got a great show coming up for you as we give you a little inside scoop on one of the participants in the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. That is North Carolina A&T. The Aggies are our HBCU School of the Week.
And this should be a classic matchup, Jay. I mean, considering that they've been there once or twice before and can't wait for them to get down. We also got to go straight, no chaser, on the NFL with Kareem Hunt and also HBCU coaches. If they don't get a break moving up on the food chain, then where are they going to get one?
Oh, it's going to be interesting to see. That's an interesting topic right there. We'll also hit you up a little bit later and let you know who I think are the 5 greatest football players in the history of the SWAC. I got it right like always. But before we do that, let's take a look at our Gimme 5 photo of the week. The folks down there on the reservation, they knew we were coming, Mark. It was a SWAC championship, and my fans now, they're starting to throw up the Gimme 5 sign, try to take it from me. It's Jay's Gimme 5, not y'all's Gimme 5.
You know, next to being mocked by Saturday Night Live, having people show the Gimme 5 sign has to be the pinnacle of your media career.
I guess so.
You have arrived then.
Well, let me tell you something, Mark. Down there at that SWAC championship, Alcorn versus Southern, winner take all goes to the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. Man, hey, the reservation was jumping.
It was lit?
It was lit. I mean, Southern came deep. Hats off to Jaguar Nation. Y'all did your thing trying to carry your team. But Alcorn just kind of swamped them. They just swamped them. And that was one of the most electric environments I've seen in the HBCU football since like the 1990s with the Circle City Classic. It was that exciting in there.
Well, I'll say this as one who watched the game on TV with a partisan Southern, apologist mindset. A, Noah Johnson killed you at the end of the first half. And B, Waller, the running back, just destroyed you in the second half. I mean, and you got to admire the defense pitching the shutout in the fourth quarter. The best team in the SWAC represents the SWAC in the championship. But, I listened to you and Tiffany. It was a great call of the game, but I vehemently disagree with both of you guys. I thought I was watching a great homecoming. I thought it was a lit homecoming, not a conference championship. And when you do it like I do it and you kind of comparing, SEC model and our model, I missed Houston. I like the big venue.
I like the big venue too, but let me say this. It was so off the chain. They got to do it again. I mean, you can play that game in Baton Rouge. You can play it at Grambling. You can play it at Alcorn. You play it at Jackson State. That same electricity is going to be there. I think Commissioner Charles McClellan of the SWAC did a fantastic job coming up with a plan that I think is their long-term success model. And also, think about this for a minute, Mark Gray. If you're a fan of Alcorn State, you don't have to drive or fly to Houston and then go from Houston to Atlanta. You had the one home game.
Go with that again.
You had the one home game, and now you just got to make one road trip at that neutral site in the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl in Atlanta. Case closed.
There's enough
Think about your
alums
pockets.
from everywhere
Think about your pockets.
in Atlanta to justify the game being in Atlanta or in Houston because they're hubs for the SWAC.
Let's go one step further. Since you love Southern University so much, if you're a fan of Southern, you're going to go to New Orleans for the Bayou Classic. You're going to go from the Bayou Classic to Houston, Texas for the SWAC Championship. And then 2 weeks later, you're going to Atlanta, Georgia. It ain't happening, man.
Let me speak to the Southern fan in Houston. In droves who moves from the Bayou over to the other side to work for NASA, among other many great Fortune 500 companies or government jobs. There are enough alums in that hub, Jay, that they will come to Houston and don't have to pay travel money, which would then give them an opportunity to go to Atlanta or stay home for the watch party.
You saw it on TV. I was
there.
Looked good.
I was there in person.
SWAC got it right. Great job to the SWAC. Look forward to next year's home-based SWAC championship game. And sticking with that SWAC theme, let's go to this week's Gimme 5, brought to you by the Tinderbox. Oh yeah, what am I doing this week? I want to give you the greatest players in the history of the SWAC. This week's Gimme 5 is brought to you by the Tinderbox. All right, football fans and football historians, How about this list? Let's keep the conversation going as I give you the 5 greatest football players in the history of SWAC football. Number 5, when he left the reservation down at Alcorn State University, Steve Air McNair was the all-time total offense leader in the history of FCS or 1AA football. Number 4, Super Bowl MVP Doug Williams. Before he went on to NFL stardom, he was a first-round draft pick out of Grambling State University, playing under legendary coach Eddie Robinson. Number 3, Buck Buchanan. If you don't know how good Buck Buchanan was, you better ask somebody. He was so good that currently the Defensive Player of the Year award given out in all of FCS football is named after Buck Buchanan. He was also first round, first pick in the AFL draft. That tells you how good Buck Buchanan was on the defensive side of the ball. Number 2, Jerry Rice. Oh, this was a tough one. He was known as World when he played at Mississippi Valley State and went on to become the greatest wide receiver in the history of the National Football League. Makes number 2 on my list, meaning number 1 must be special. And oh yeah, sweetness. Walter Payton from Jackson State was special indeed. Arguably the greatest football player in the history of the game itself. I think Walter Payton is the greatest player in the history of the SWAC. On the bubble, not quite making my list, how about Texas Southern University's own Michael Strahan, who went on to become the NFL single-season sack leader. And oh yeah, you need a little protection up front? How about Jackson State alum Jackie Slater, who went on to play 20 plus years in the National Football League. That's my list. Want to debate it, talk about it? Hit us up on all of our social media platforms. All right, now, that was a tough one, but I gotta give a disclaimer first. I have to give a disclaimer. That was the toughest list I've probably done, but at the same time, recognize this. You could take that list right there, those 5 greatest players, and match them up against anybody. SEC, Pac-12, ACC, and they won't beat that list right there.
They won't.
And that being said, though, Mark, my legendary list, you're going to correct me on some legends I forgot.
Not corrections, modifications. There's a very big difference there, my friend. You had a tremendous job. You handled it with great aplomb. However, you can't start talking about lockdown corners without the name of Mel Blount. He was there for all the Steelers' dominant defenses back in the day, and he was able to be the guy that originally took away the side of a field. And also Charlie Joyner, who was to the pass route running of the early 70s, late 70s, what Jerry Rice was against defenses that could mug you all the way down the field.
Charlie was good. You could also talk about John Stallworth,
Harold Jackson,
Lynn Barney, Harold Carmichael. The list goes on and on and on. It's a tough one there, but that's why we have to shorten, and that's why it's Jay's Gimme 5. It's a tough list, but I respect your opinion on that, Mark.
Do I at least get a dilly-dilly and stay out of the pit of misery?
I'll give you that.
Anyway, now let's give it to him straight, no chasing. All right, Jay, we've got our Celebration Bowl set up already. North Carolina A&T, Alcorn State. We see who are the best in the MEAC and the SWAC. Your early thoughts?
It's going to be a physical game. These are the 2 most physical teams in HBCU football this season, without a doubt. Both teams win the games with their defensive lines. Whichever defensive line can get off, that's the team that's going to have the greatest chance of success. And I think that advantage goes to North Carolina A&T. However, I think the speed on the perimeter of Alcorn State will be the key. They've got a quarterback in Noah Johnson. When I'm calling the game, Mark, you know who he reminded me of? He really did. I said it during the game. He reminded me of Alan Suber.
Yeah, he does.
He's smooth like that, effortless the way he does it. He's going to be a problem. So the question is going to be, although A&T's defensive line may get to Johnson, will he be there? Because he will disappear on him.
In lieu of diggable planets, a diggable quarterback. If you like a guy who is that new generation spread option, RPO type of guy. Got to get to Kareem Hunt and the NFL. And we've all seen the videotape unfortunate circumstance. But you look at the NFL, certainly after what happened with Washington. You've got a player in Reuben Foster who's been alleged 3 times to commit domestic violence. He's picked up off waivers. You look at Kareem Hunt, he's not claimed. I mean, what do you make of the NFL in the way that they're handling domestic violence?
Team by team, obviously we've seen it changes by a team basis. But the one thing I've noticed about Commissioner Goodell, and I'm a former NFL player, and you talk to guys about it, they know this. Goodell's clear. If I get involved, it's going to hurt. He's going to make it hurt. Stiffer penalties all the time. He does not play. And I'm not even talking about the acts that, Hunt committed or whatever. Have your opinion on that as you will. But when Goodell gets involved, if he gets a chance to throw the book at you, guess what? Duck, because here comes the book.
Well,
and Kareem Hunt is going to get the book.
Well, of course. So does the book include the chapter on Ray Rice? Or
you better ask Ray Rice. Better ask Ray
now
Rice.
People would argue that he still got younger legs, a lot more game left in him, and Rice was at the end of his career, so it was easy for them to, let him walk.
You can say what you want to about that, but I just know when Roger Goodell get involved, you better duck because the book is coming. Unfortunate on all aspects in terms of what happened there. It shouldn't have happened, and I don't think Goodell's going to tolerate it.
Quickly, where do HBCU coaches go if they need an opportunity, and it seems like all the opportunities are going to FCS assistants, FBS, coaches?
I think what we got to do is you got to promote the ones that have done a good job. I mean, Broderick Frye was an HBCU guy. Now at Grambling, he's an HBCU guy. Went to Grambling, went away to predominantly white institutions to get some seasoning, as we like to say. But he's done a great job there at Grambling. Eric Dooley just got promoted from within, which was long overdue. Sam Washington, North Carolina A&T. But everybody likes the new thing, and I think Jay Hobson down at Alcorn State, he kind of started that trend, came in, had success in that with no black college experience. They're all chasing it. Mike London did a good job. So I think there's a balance there, but it's been going on for years. But it's just now it's a little bit more magnified because people think that HBCU coaches should stay within HBCU coaching world, but I argue just the opposite because HBCU coaches want to expand beyond HBCU coaching.
And for the record, the HBCU coach, dollar for dollar, if I can borrow from what Bill Hayes once told me, the former A&T legendary coach, dollar for dollar, HBCU coaches are doing the best job in America with the resources that they have to work with. And I'd love to see those guys have a chance to match up against their counterparts with the same resources.
And they're also the highest paid coaches in FCS football too. But sticking with that Bill Hayes theme, hey, you can't think about Bill Hayes without thinking about our HBCU School of the Week. This week's Gimme 5 School of the Week is Aggie Pride, North Carolina A&T. Now it's time for this week's HBCU School of the Week, brought to you by the Air Force Reserve Celebration Bowl. All right, everybody, one of the participants in this year's football game for the HBCU National Championship is North Carolina A&T, and here go the 5 things you must know about the Aggies. Number 5, did you know that North Carolina A&T is now the largest, I repeat, the largest HBCU in the country? To be quite simple, A&T is hot. Number 4, how about some of the famous alum that went to the school down in Greensboro, North Carolina? I'm talking about civil rights leader Jesse Jackson, talking about NASA astronaut Ronald McNair, how about NBA legend Al Attles, and also NFL Hall of Famer Elvin Bethea. Number 3, they always pay homage to February 1 in Greensboro, North Carolina. North Carolina A&T was right in the center of the civil rights movement in the state of North Carolina, and these 4 brave Aggie students took a stance at the Woolworth counter. Number 2, GHO. What is GHO? They call it the greatest homecoming on earth. Now you can debate that if you want to, but down in Aggie land, they definitely believe in GHO. And the number 1 thing you must know about North Carolina A&T, in my best Bill Hayes voice, let me get Aggie Pride on 3. 1, 2, 3. Aggie Pride. They instill it from the moment you step foot on campus in North Carolina A&T. On the bubble, not quite making it? How about a shout out to the most improved band I've seen in the past 3 years in the HBCU landscape, and that is the Blue and Gold Marching Machine. That's my Gimme 5. Want to argue with me, talk about it, debate it? Hit us up on all of our social media platforms. Man, that was the hardest Gimme 5 I had to do in my life. You know why? Everybody knows I'm a Howard guy, man. I'm an Aggie killer, and I can't believe I'm wearing an A&T shirt. What I won't do for my fans.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, boy, you just won yourself a couple friends who are still trying to get over what you did back in the day on BET. I won't mention it by name. However, maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment, but I must point out that you did forget about Tariq Cohen. And as we count down to the Celebration Bowl, he would count as the first Celebration Bowl legend. I mean, he went off in the first Celebration Bowl. He became YouTube sensation, parlayed that into the NFL job that he has right now.
That's a good one.
With the Chicago Bears. And then, of course, Dwayne Ward, part of the San Francisco 49ers early years under Bill Walsh.
Yeah.
You know,
Good
Bill
one.
Walsh. You know, hey, how about that?
Nitpicking at me a little bit. Tariq, yeah, that's my
Tariq.
guy there. He gonna make sure I hear about it.
Dang, Jay. I ain't good enough to make your top 5? I thought we was boys, man.
But with that being said,
Exactly.
it's been a good one, man. We appreciate it. Had a ball with y'all. That's going to wrap it up. Hit us up on all of our social media platforms at the Gimme 5 Show. Holla.